My stepmother changed the locks on my dead father's house and called it hers. I had the deed. My dad, Richard, married Denise when I was 21, 3 years after my mom passed. I was polite to her at holidays and nothing more. Denise never liked that the house on Birchwood Lane still felt like my mother's house, with my mom's garden out back and my baby pictures on the stairwell wall. She used to say, half joking, "This place needs a fresh start." I didn't think much of it. I had my own apartment across town, my own life, and I only came by on Sundays for dinner. What I didn't know was that my dad had been quietly protecting that house for years. Back when he remarried, his lawyer, a careful old friend named Walter Combs, suggested he put the house into a trust with me named as sole beneficiary, separate from anything he and Denise owned jointly. Dad never mentioned it to me. He just said once, "Maya, you'll always have somewhere to go." I thought he meant it in a general, sentimental way. He meant it literally. Dad died of a heart attack in March, fast and without warning. The funeral was small. Denise cried beautifully in the front row, and I stood in the back holding it together for both of us. 2 weeks later, she called me and said she'd cleared out a few of my old things from the hall closet to make room. A month after that, she repainted my mother's garden shed and put up a sign that said the Whitfield House, using her own last name. By June, she changed the locks and told our neighbor, Carol, that the house was finally, officially hers, that Richard had always promised it to her, and that his difficult daughter just needed to accept it and move on. Carol told me all of this at the grocery store, clearly expecting me to be upset. I just said, "Oh, that's interesting," and went home and called Walter. Walter pulled the trust documents. My name was on every page, notarized in 2019, 5 years before Dad died. Denise had no claim to the house at all. Her name wasn't on the deed, the trust, or even the mortgage, which had been paid off since 2021. She had simply decided the house was hers, because she was living in it, and nobody had told her otherwise. I didn't call her. I didn't post anything. I let her plan her housewarming party. Invitations went out to my aunts, my cousins, even a few of Dad's old coworkers, all addressed from Denise Whitfield. She stood in my mother's kitchen in July, holding a glass of wine, telling everyone how hard she'd fought to keep this family's home together. I showed up right as she started her toast. I didn't raise my voice. I just handed Walter's folder to my Aunt Pam, who read it out loud without me having to say a word. The room went quiet. Denise's face changed in about 3 seconds, wine glass still raised halfway. "There's clearly been a misunderstanding," I said, calm as anything. "You have 30 days. Walter's office will send the paperwork." She tried to argue that Dad had told her verbally the house was hers. I told her that was a conversation between her and a dead man, and courts don't care much for those. Nobody in the room defended her. A few of my cousins actually apologized to me for believing her version of things. Denise moved out at the end of August, into a rental near her sister's place. She never apologized. I didn't need her to. I repainted the shed back to its original color, replanted my mother's roses along the fence, and had Sunday dinner in that kitchen again, alone, with the lights on, and the whole house quiet and mine. I never told anyone how satisfying it felt to just hand over a folder and let the paperwork speak. I didn't have to.